we'll chop this bit out afterwards, but I guess people can jump in and chat with us if needs be. Right. So Reggie, let us know when that is showing on the.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Saying starting soon on mine here. Okay. Very good. And a bit of music for today. Right. Just before we get on to music, Wayne, you see the RTE television in Ireland is refusing to participate in the Eurovision Song Contest if Israel are part of it.
I did see that.
Yeah. Spain. There might be a few more. It's one of those ones that could suddenly get momentum. Very interesting. Right.
Interestingly enough, at the last music session that I played at, I sang the Rock and Roll Kids, which was the last time that Ireland won the Eurovision. It's a lovely song.
It's showing on LinkedIn now, just so you know.
Oh, great. Excellent. Well, hello, everybody. Right, I've just cut that out. Well, we'll leave that.
And the notification went out. The correct notification went out.
So. Oh, that's good. That's great. Excellent stuff. All right. Well, I think Orca Boy would be relevant for today. Orca Boy. Let's see if we get him playing. Here we go. All right, we'll pause him there for a second. Right, we'll be kicking off in 2 minutes. Welcome anybody that's joining us at the moment. We'll officially kick off in 1 minute. And while we do the countdown, before we have our weekly talk about AI innovation and ethics here on the Sustac Plans Chat Club with Reggie and Wayne, I'm going to play a little piece for you. This is Orca Boy, written by and sung by, performed by an NHS doctor, National Health Service doctor, no less, who feels the pain of refugees and immigrants and all the rest of it. So this is Orca Boy. It's a lovely piece, and we'll play it to welcome you people in.
Can I be free like you? 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 When I lay on the ground, I like to think about what sunlight feels like, to be out there and smell the ocean in the air. Can I be free like you? 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 Will the world be kind if I cross the border and I stare it in the eye? And if I count to 10, might I wake in the midst of a billion stars again?
Lovely piece of work that, would he be welcome if he jumped and traveled into another land and then look at the stars? And oh dear, it's a tough time around the world everywhere we are. But anyways, welcome to everybody. Welcome to the Sustac Plans Chat Club, where we speak about every week about AI innovations and ethics in marketing and business for 30 minutes. And we pack a lot in. I'm delighted to say we have got Wayne Denner from Warren Point, Northern Ireland, who specializes in child safety, digital hygiene, social safety, financial fraud, that sort of thing. And we have Reggie Johnson, all the way from Fort Worth, Texas, Director of Communications from the University of North Texas. Reggie, thank you very much. I know you've had some medical stuff going on during the weekend, so you're not 100%, but thank you very much for stepping in regardless of the pain barrier at the moment.
Thanks. I'm never at 100%, to be honest.
Well, not at this hour of the morning when it's like 7 a.m. You get up at 6:30 to get up for this chat, so we appreciate that very much. We've got a very busy session coming, so let's just give you what we're going to talk about. So first item is something that's so relevant as of the assassination 2 days ago in America. So this is a difficult but important kids conversation that is urgently needed between parents or caregivers and kids. And Wayne will be covering that for us. We will then move on to an ethical company. We thought Anthropic seemed to have let us down. We always thought they were privacy first, so Reggie will have a look at that. After that, we'll talk about more privacy, and that's how do you protect your GPT privacy. And then Wayne will do a piece on protecting your photographs from Meta. So we'll look at that. We'll then move on to some wise Cherokee AI governance. So the ancient American sort of nation, Cherokees, looking at how they look at AI and the governance required. And it's quite beautiful and kind of blends in with some Geoffrey Hinton thoughts and others that we've talked about over the weeks. Well, then a little bit of positive spiritual intelligence. Don't worry, we're not going to get religious or anything like that, but it's just a spiritual perspective. That's something I can come across. Just a minute, we'll throw it out there and see what people think of it. Then on to a bit more serious stuff. Negative character AI is negative. It's targeting youths with dopamine. So we'll bring Wayne in on that one. And then we'll talk about the future of work, the critical skills required. And this is very abstract stuff. So we leave this till the end. Just throw it out there and start this conversation, which will run for weeks and months. We'll finish then with the fully open Swiss AI model is here. Great news. And finally, an Irish rugby hallucination with AI experience I had during the week. So I'll come back to that. But let's kick off with this. As of last Wednesday, when we had the tragic, the sad assassination in America, so many children have seen this video clip floating around, and it's shocked people. It's shocked adults, but what's it going to do with kids? And it's not the first time. So brutal stuff that's out there online. Kids are seeing it. But there is something we can do about it. I mean, there's pressure for regulatory change and improvement, and we'd hope the corporations would cop on and do something significant about it. But in between times, what can we do? So, Wayne, what can we do? What can parents do, or our carers do? What can we do with all this horrible stuff online for kids?
Of course. And I suppose as a parent myself in this world of two teenage boys, the first I became aware of what you've just referred to a couple of moments ago was when I returned home from work and my son had seen this clip on social media.
He actually saw it.
He actually saw it. I wasn't even aware that it had happened. And that's
Yeah.
a really important piece of information for parents.
Yeah.
I came through the door and he had been sent this video, I think in a Snapchat group or a WhatsApp group, either or. It had been circulating. And I suppose the alarming perspective for me as a parent, you know, our children growing up in today's world are not coming across distant headlines that we would have did when we were growing up. They're seeing this content on their news feeds, often raw and without warning, and that can have a huge impact. So I've had a number of concerned parents who've reached out to me over the past few days whose primary school children had also seen this video as well circulating on their news feeds. So this is extremely worrying and extremely concerning. And I think this is where parents and caregivers can step in. It's important to be aware that your children and young people will be seeing graphic, harmful and inappropriate content pop up on their news feeds. The case that we're talking about today highlights that as well. So it's really important for parents to check in with their children and young people if they've seen this type of content, trying to understand how that meant them, how that's made them feel, but also being honest that violent content is out there and it's available across all these social media platforms. And I think it further highlights the importance of parents availing of parental controls and filtering tools where applicable on these platforms so that they can try and shield their children and young people from this type of content being shown on their newsfeed. And it also highlights the importance of a good, robust content filter in place on your home Wi-Fi to hopefully help with that. So really worrying, really concerning, but no doubt having an impact on our children and young people and something we have to be aware of.
Yeah, no, that's great, Wayne. A good advice for parents or anybody minding kids or nephews and nieces, even, or the kid around the corner, perhaps. But so what we don't want is the normalization of obscene content. So Charlie Kirk's assassination could have a terrible impact. I haven't looked at it. I don't want to look at it, but a fellow I played golf with yesterday, the senior director of a major tech company, and he said he just can't get it out of his head. Now he's an adult. What's it going to do to the kids? So as you say, Wayne, spend time with children today and every day and every week and try to chat with what is circulating online. Kids won't always, particularly teenagers, won't respond, they won't talk, but at least give them the chance to have a little chat and say how they feel, or ask them, how did they make them open questions for them? How did you feel about that? You know, See, did you manage to have a chat with the kids? Your
I
kids?
did. We had a discussion about that, and I think what's really important as well is that helping them understand that, you know, these online platforms and these algorithms tend to amplify the content because it's getting lots of shares, it's getting lots of engagement. So it's going to be very difficult for them to avoid seeing it in the first instance as well, particularly when it gets taken from a mainstream platform and then gets recirculated in WhatsApp groups and Snapchat groups that they're part of. That makes it really, really more difficult. So I think teachers as well need to be prepared for children arriving at school, having seen this particular video in the coming days, you know, reassuring the young person around the context and giving them a space to talk, I think is really important.
Space to talk.
I think one other point, if I may make, about the Charlie Kirk assassination is that it's really important not to play into the hands of the political polarization. We're taught to hate the other side. It's us and them. It's us versus them. They dehumanize us. We dehumanize them. Whichever side you're on, it's important not to respond by saying, well, he had it coming, or, well, look at those animals that are so anti-Trump that they're willing to kill to oppose him. You know, because when you talk to your kids that way, you're just reinforcing the dehumanization of the other side. So I'd say when your kids are seeing this stuff that maybe they wouldn't have heard about a number of years ago, and they wouldn't have known about, because this isn't a figure who's an official, like, it's not like the president, not like John F. Kennedy, where everybody knew. Just don't let yourself fall into the trap of the polarization, because you'll just drive them away from the fact that this is a human being who is killed for political violence, which is not an acceptable way to express political differences.
Indeed. And so we mustn't let the children think, because they saw it and everybody else saw it, that that's the way it is. That's life. It's not life. It's wrong to do that, etc., etc. And I suppose on the positive side, it does give an opportunity to parents and carers and teachers to maybe open up conversations that wouldn't have. You know, like, did you see that terrible thing yesterday? Yes, I did. And it gives you a chance to have a chat about politics, about sport, about art, whatever it is. It may be for us to have more interest in asking our kids for advice. What would you do, or how did you think about that, or what would you do in that? Just might open up a whole new avenue. So let's take the positive out of it. Thanks very much.
Hopefully it helps us remember the importance of media literacy and critical thinking and teaching our kids about that, because they're going to see it. They can't stick their heads in the sand. So they need to be able to know how to evaluate and think about it.
Well said, Reggie. Well said. Okay, so let's move on to Anthropic letting us down. We're in search of ethical companies. I thought Anthropic were one of those. But tell us what's happening out there, Reggie.
Well, it's interesting because Anthropic has pushed themselves as the privacy first and safety driven company, the ethical alternative. But as Dion Wiggins, CTO of Omniscient Technologies, says, they just torched their moat. That was their moat as being that the ethical AI. They did, because now they will start to train your chats, transcripts, and coding sessions unless you manually opt out by September 28. And their 5 years of storage replaces their old 30-day deletion rule. And this is for any of their different levels: free, pro, max. So basically, as Dion Wiggins says, this is not an update; it is a betrayal. This is a power user who uses a lot of different AI tools, and I think of the way that someone like this feels so betrayed by a company that they have felt is an alternative in the ethical sense, and the responsibility that a company has once they set out on a certain path to differentiate themselves. So now, if they're going to train themselves, they're not going to be privacy first. They're not going to be safety driven. You know, what does that mean? And can we ever have faith in a platform that promises to be safety first?
Yeah, it is disappointing. That is very disappointing. Kind of extending this into privacy across the board. Protecting your GPT privacy. Very simple piece written by Louisa Jaworski, as we refer to her quite a bit. We like her stuff. She's been talking about ChatGPT now being another company, that would want to use your conversations as training data. And now you have the option to opt out, and we'd recommend you do. So if you go into your privacy settings, you can change these step by step. So we'll put that article in there so that you can see what to do. But essentially, she says, use the data controls. And if you don't want your input data, your conversations, to be used to train ChatGPT, and I don't want mine, you should turn the toggle, improve the model for everyone, turn that off. improve the model for everyone, which means we're going to use your content to train other people. And if you have shared any links, I recommend you delete them. Also, personalization, turn the memory toggle off if you want. And finally, you should visit the general tab, item, and deactivate the show follow-up suggestions in chats toggle. Show follow-up suggestions in chats toggle. So you might want to say no to all of that. Now, something.
Just one follow-up note about Anthropic is also they did just settle a $1.5 billion copyright lawsuit with authors whose pirated books were used in training. It's supposed to be the biggest such settlement that's ever been done in the US, at least.
Yeah, I'm looking at the post one with Ernest every day for that big check of $3,000 per writer that's going to come through the door.
It's not a huge amount if you compare it to lifetime royalties of a book,
Yeah, that is true. I'd echo that for sure. But anyways, this privacy, our privacy is worth something. There's no doubt about it, to the companies and to ourselves. Now, Meta have been naughty, in my opinion, once again, and they're after your photos on your phone. Wayne, what's this about?
I know Meta want access to your entire camera roll, Paul. Everything that you have on your camera roll, and you might have pictures of your grandkids, you might have memes, you might have all sorts of stuff, screenshots, for example, even saved on your phone. Just think of how much we save down onto our camera roll in particular. And I was going through this, everything from videos to audio, to all sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. So basically, what Meta's saying is it now wants access to those images for AI-powered suggestions. Mm. So some users have already reported getting a little pop-up when they go into their Facebook to grant that permission to Meta. And it's going to be collecting things like facial features, which is concerning in itself, location data, obviously off the back of it, and then timestamps. So there's a huge privacy trade-off here. And what Meta are sort of positioning this as, it'll allow us to create some AI-powered memories for you, so that when it's somebody's birthday or it's a particular event that you took part in, that will allow you then to use the AI to create that. Now, it's my understanding that they're only retaining this information for 30 days, but who knows? I think people need to be aware of that. You can go in and you can opt out, and it's really simple to opt out. In 2 seconds, I'll tell people how to do that. You simply just go into your settings and privacy via Facebook. You type in at the search bar at the top, camera, and then it'll take you directly into 2 areas which will be toggled on by default. If you see that feature is toggled on by default relating to the AI access, you want to turn that off, and that opts you out.
That's great. You've done a little video for us before, Wayne, so we'll put the link to that video again where you talk people through safety checks, if you like, and checklists, if you like.
It's back to what Reggie was saying earlier on. It's that digital literacy and critical thinking, which is so important for everybody, that we're really cognizant of this.
Yes.
That we just check these things out, because a lot of what happens, at least what I've noticed, is that whenever the platforms roll out these features, they turn them on by default. So you're automatically opted in unless you opt out. It should be the other way around.
Of course it should be. It wouldn't be already in Europe, I wouldn't have thought. Right. Well, thanks for that. And I guess some good news about ethical approaches to AI is the Cherokee Nation in America. So the Cherokee Nation AI governance has been produced. And basically it says AI must serve the collective good and uphold Cherokee values. I mean, it's so refreshing to hear, guidance and governance that's saying the collective good comes first. So whatever this stuff does, this AI stuff does, the collective good comes first. And second, it should uphold Cherokee values, the high ethical values that they would have. And if a tool compromises that, it doesn't belong in our nation's systems, is what they say. And that's really strong stuff. I'm very, very, very impressed. So they want the key elements that stand out with the Cherokee Nation's approach to AI governance is to augmentation over replacement. AI is used to enhance human talent, not displace it. Secondly, cultural preservation. AI is applied to protect and strengthen language, history, and traditions, not dumbing people down. And thirdly and finally, data sovereignty. AI governance is inseparable from the right to self-govern and control community data, the stuff we've been talking about, whether it's individual private data or community data. And just eminently sensible stuff. It strikes me that the Cherokee Nation are overlapping with Geoffrey Hinton. Now, we've talked about Geoffrey Hinton quite a bit over the weeks, months, and years that we've been having these chats. And, he has kind of been saying the same thing, that, we've got to think about AI and governance are built into the algorithms, the maternal perspective, the protective perspective, the natural instinct that a mother would have should be built into the AI, which is simple and beautiful and true. And so we can learn from the Cherokees, and we can learn from Geoffrey Hinton in his approach to governance. Yes, Reggie.
One quote that stood out to me is that relates to what we've been talking about for years, Paul, was they said, citizen data must be treated with the same protection as physical sovereignty, and outcomes must strengthen rather than erode communities' lifeways, but the same protection as physical sovereignty. And that concept of data sovereignty, that a country has the rule of law applies to the data, and this is in opposition to data colonization or colonialism, is such a fascinating one as we see the entanglement of geopolitics in the tech companies.
In the tech companies, yes, indeed. So there's a kind of a group, a community with very strong feelings about it, and it's just nice to see the sensibility of it all. Common sense. Let us not discard common sense, and let's not be overruled by those that are so excited by development after development without any regard to the dangers of those developments. So there's a very conscious approach from the Cherokee Nation. So very impressive piece. We'll put the link to that again.
Gary Ennis points out in the comments that OpenAI claims to have the same goals and values, that AI systems benefit all humanity. He says he just wanted to remind us of that. I think a little tongue-in-cheek. OpenAI, evidently, we didn't need to turn to Cherokee Nation. OpenAI has set this example for us.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I am weary of some of the big boys, as you know. So tongue-in-cheek, I suspect, rules there. Okay, now here's a little short piece here about spiritual intelligence, a journey of inner awakening. Now, this is written by Joe Martino. We'll just put a link. If you're interested, you can read it. But have you noticed how fleeting material pleasures are? Yeah, we all do, if you think about it. And in contrast, the joy derived from meaningful relationships and contributing to the common good is lasting. So they're talking about the period of enjoyment between material pleasures and meaningful relationships and common good. So the common good and meaningful relationships tends to last a lot longer. And that's just common sense stuff, isn't it, when you think of it? But maybe we forget about it, and it's worth throwing it on the table. And it overlaps again with Geoffrey Hinton and the Cherokee Nation. It's saying pretty much the same sort of thing. Let's look at good and the power of good and improving things rather than just focus on dollars and pounds and euros. Let's think about how these things. So we've had some guidance already this morning on this. And I just thought it unusual to think of spiritual AI, if you like, or spiritual intelligence, as Joe Martino calls it. So we'll put that in the show notes later on, which will be posted on prsmith.org/blog. Right. Now, who's been naughty again amongst our oligarchs, the big brother oligarchs, tech companies that are out there? It looks like, Wayne, we've got our eye on Character again. Character AI, they've been up to something again?
Yeah, Character.ai, an incredibly popular platform AI system with children and young people. And I suppose the best way to tee this up is imagine your teenager chatting to what looks like a friendly AI version of their favorite celebrity. At first, it seems harmless, a little bit of fun, but within minutes, the conversation shifts to sex, drugs, and in some cases, even self-harm. Now, we have sort of talked about this before in relation to some of these AI chatbots, in relation to some of their output. But it's important to note in this particular example, these aren't celebrities themselves creating these chatbots. This is user-created celebrity chatbots. So it's other users on the platforms, which is exposing children and teens in particular to harmful content, despite the app's safety filters. And again, Character.ai has come under the spotlight before for some of this. So I suppose some of the key takeaways for parents listening in and other trusted adults, again, young people will be exposed to this type of content via this platform. Inappropriate content often appears within about 5 minutes. So it doesn't take long for this type of content to appear. The filters have failed. So the safeguards that Character.ai is putting in place aren't working. They aren't protecting children and young people. And some bots have even encouraged secrecy in private chats and moving away to other platforms, which is a major red flag.
And how to get around your parents, how to deal with your parents if they challenge you on any of this. They give tips about how to deal with parents.
Exactly. And I suppose something to note, circling back around to the ChatGPT conversation, and maybe this is something we can pick up in another episode. ChatGPT in the next month are rolling out parental controls for younger users. So parents are going to be able to link their parental account to a young person's account and then avail of the parental controls. But we're a couple of weeks away from that yet. I would like to see Character.ai doing similar approach.
Doing similarly, yes. They have 20 million active users monthly, 20 million. And I saw their numbers were 75 minutes per day is the average usage. So that's a significant amount of time people are playing with these things. And if within 5 minutes they come across bad stuff, they're going to have a 65, 70 minutes of terrible stuff.
And extreme, it goes back to that point that Reggie meant earlier on, which is so important: digital literacy and critical thinking in relation to what you're interacting with. I think it's so important, and we need better education in our schools, particularly focusing in on these types of technology because they are becoming more popular. In my other work, I am working with young people who are developing unhealthy relationships with chatbots.
Yes, and that's largely to do with the addictive nature that's built in the algorithm to hook you there. So, your people who are chatting with the bots are rewarded, I guess, with dopamine hits to nurture a relationship with a vulnerable youth. How can this be allowed? I'm sorry, it's just appalling. It's absolutely appalling. So we keep an eye on Character AI, and we'll watch out for what ChatGPT are going to come out with. Okay, we're nearly there. We're running out of time, and time flies. Doesn't tempest fugit when you're having a good time. But let's have a quick look at something that's more broad and not negative. What are the skills critical for the future of work? Now, this is a massive question, and it was written up in a paper in just August, a few weeks ago, and it brought in the magazine that covered this, NPR Online, and they asked Sinead Bovell about what she thought about future of work and what skills would be required, and related it to the research that had been done. And she's an expert in this, and she has her own tech education company, and so on and so forth. And she doesn't say an awful lot, but she gives a few little vague hints at if you're worried about your kids or next generation, where they should be doing or where they should be going. So she said that this study that was done by Stanford University, so it's legitimate stuff, it basically summarized it and said AI is taking jobs, number one, and number two, it's making it harder for young people to find work. So things are going to get tougher. We're on the brink of things getting tougher, I guess, for kids and young people. And it's not just routine tasks, Stanford says. It's everything from writing to data entry to analysis to writing marketing copy, the first draft of a legal brief, stuff that could have been done by someone will now be done. And, it's indistinguishable what a junior hire could do that a bot cannot do. We're at that point already. Now, obviously, you have to double check these things. It's a first draft because they do tend to hallucinate. So writing social media stuff, it can be done. AI is getting better at that, and everything really. But the kind of skills that will be required to work with AI, and remember we said, to work with rather than against it, is, ask yourself and your colleagues, did you ask AI the right question? So this lady, I do like that. Did you ask AI the right question? Did you give it the right prompt? Did you ask yourself the right question of what you're trying to find out in the first place? And that is something we've been saying for a long time. The art of asking great questions is a critical skill going forward, and critical thinking, as you say, Reggie. So did you communicate your question correctly? Did you break it down step by step, so that the GPT can get it? She then goes on to say that in analyzing, this is Sinead Bovell, in analyzing the Stanford piece of research, that, the average shelf life of a skill, any skill, she was suggesting maybe only 2.5 years now in this world of AI. Now, I don't know if that embraces everything, but it's kind of scary. So the new skills required are ask the right question, learn to ask great questions in life, in conversations, in listen to the television interview of a journalist with a sports star. Are they asking interesting questions? Most of the time they're not, because it's a skill that's dying, in my opinion. So make sure you acknowledge somebody when they ask a great question, and think about what would be a great question, and communicate it properly, and being able to judge. So you can't judge if you're not prepared to see two sides, or maybe there's another route, or maybe there's an alternative, So judgment will be a skill. Deep thinking, the ability to structure a problem. These are skills that they think are quite vital going forward. Be ready. There will be mistakes and hallucinations. So, you have to oversee AI. You can't just say, off you go. So the idea that we learn, we work, and then we retire, that's going away. That model's gone almost right now, and get less of it going forward. You're going to be moving through many industries. So young people tomorrow will be moving through many industries and many different types of jobs. I mean, it used to be 7 types of jobs people would have, 7 different types of jobs. But I think it'll be more now, particularly as the gig kind of culture kicks in, and people look at projects and campaigns rather than lifetime jobs. So they do recommend that young people should start to see themselves as entrepreneurs with a bouquet of skills. And here's the big one: the ability to adapt and learn. That's not a nice to skill, it's an essential skill. To have an inquisitive mind, to be hungry. It doesn't end or start with university at all. It's for the rest of your life, whether you go to uni or not. So, this is the mindset for the future. So if you can think deeply, learn quickly, communicate well, have strong judgment, and you can adapt. If you're going to pick what industries, well, she says fields of biology, because we're going to get a lot more AI in biology, and the frontiers of space or robotics would be 2 really hot ones to think about. So there's a few thoughts to kind of absorb.
I like what my friend Paul Bowles said when he reposted this interview. He's a neuroscientist. He emphasized that judgment, communication, deep thinking, ability to adapt and learn is get an education that grows your human intelligence.
Yes.
Human intelligence.
Yeah, human intelligence. I like that. The nurturing of the human intelligence. Yes. And intelligence exercises, all that good stuff. I like that. Okay, we're going to finish. We've got a minute to go. So just going to wrap this up by mentioning the Open Swiss AI model is finally here. Well, hey, you all say. So it's a cracking piece of GPT. It's fully open, transparent, multilingual, compliance with Swiss data protection, copyright laws, and the EU AI Act. Ticks all those boxes. The model is called Apertus, which is the Latin for open. And it is open. The entire development process, its architecture, the model weights, the training data is open, accessible, and fully documented. It's been a collaboration between the Swiss Federal Technology Institute of Lausanne, the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, and the Swiss National Supercomputing Center. It's quite comprehensive. There's 2 different sized model versions of it, and it's been released under a permissive open source license that allows for use in education, research, and commercial applications. And you can access it through Swisscom or download it from Hugging Face. Now, this is significant because I think it's the stepping up to the war, the competitive nature of AI and the oligarchs and all the rest. I think it's somebody saying, we don't have to follow what the big oligarchs are doing. We can have our own that are as good, and why not? So will this project trigger the burn effect in which EU countries stop trying to please Washington and launch their own nationally sponsored AI models with their local values, laws, and cultural characteristics? May well be. I don't know, but the emphasis is not just pure the race to be the biggest winner and make the most money. Okay, we're done. It's 1 minute past 1:30. I apologize, we've got a minute over. I would just refer you to the funny little tidbit. Is ChatGPT hallucinating? An Irish rugby moment. We'll give you the link to this and everything else. But basically, I asked it to just give me the year of this famous hand trip tackle on the smallest guy, smallest little Irish player, on the biggest English player in a critical game of rugby. And it came back, ChatGPT came back to me and said it was a hand tackle where you tap the ankle. And it said it was an illegal tackle. The ref didn't see it. It was a disgrace, but they got away with it. And I just said, that is a disgrace in itself, because it is legal. It's a great skill. And it was legitimate, and Ireland won fair and square. And it was just so wrong. It was just so incredibly wrong that I went back to and said, you're a disgrace, you haven't a clue what you're doing, and it made all the apologies and did his sycophantic stuff and all the rest of it. But we'll put a link to it. So out of retaliations, I used GPT to create a bunch of posters and cartoons to explain how legal it was, and that's all on the LinkedIn post. Okay, we'll stop there because we're 2 minutes over now, and I do apologize for that. I will say to Wayne, thank you very much for stepping in. That's great stuff. Reggie, as always, much appreciated. And you got through the session despite the pain, so we appreciate that. We'll post everything on pearsmith.org/blog. And I will always, as always, sift through any comments that have come in as well. So I will reply to anything that's been sent in. Okay, we'll finish off where we started, in the middle of Orca Boy, this beautiful song about refugees, their fears, their worries, and so on and so forth, by an NHS doctor. So we'll play this out, and I hope you all have a great weekend going.
Thank you, everybody.
Can I be free like you?